If I said it's 10 times more effective than a testimonial, I'm probably underestimating it. I think it's probably 100,000 times better, because you are now tapping into people's emotions. You're building trust that prospects can't even explain. Welcome to this podcast. A big problem that a lot of builders struggle with is the lack of trust in prospective clients' minds. So in this podcast, JP and I talk about 3 different things you can do as a builder to build maximum trust so that prospective clients see you as the builder of choice and go ahead with you. The other night I was having dinner with a couple of builder clients that we have, and we do that every month kind of thing. And this topic of trust came up. I mean, it always comes up.
It's a big one.
You always talk to builders.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it comes up all the time in terms of just that difficulty in building trust. And it's just, it's frustrating. And sometimes they can't even articulate it.
But building trust with what? What are we talking
with
about?
their prospective client, with the market. Because if you don't build trust, then you're not going to win business, and your business will just fold.
Yeah. And I think a lot of builders, they might not win jobs, or they might win the wrong jobs, and then, or with the wrong clients, and then they will look for all the reasons why that would have happened. And one thing that they don't think about is that trust. Have I built up trust?
Yeah, big one. So one that has come up often, which it's very rare to hear a builder who can articulate it, but the classic is you sign a job up and you drop the price to win it, and then they take you on. Now you've won that purely based on, not purely, but largely on price. You've gone in trying to win it based on price. They're a price-driven, decision maker. They've chosen you based on price. There's no trust. Yeah. So now you've got this client that's just money conscious, just sees you as racing to the bottom dollar, and there's no trust. Yeah. So whenever something comes up in that build, a challenge or whatever, because there is zero trust in the relationship, it's just a headache. Yeah. It's just a recipe for strife.
Yeah. So I guess my goal with this podcast today is to dissect the problem of builders not building enough trust, and how you can overcome that as a builder. We're going to give you some tools. We're going to give you 3 different things you can do to build trust. Yeah. But I guess first we've got to paint the stakes, what happens if you don't build trust?
Yeah.
I think sometimes a lot of builders, they don't even know they're not building trust with prospective clients, because those prospective clients just never come to them.
Yeah.
So they don't see it.
Yeah.
And I've seen the builders that build massive trust, what happens when prospective clients come to them.
Yeah, that's a common one. I think a lot of builders, they have their heart in the right place. I really do believe that. All the builders that we talk to really do. But the problem that comes up is as soon as you start that conversation with that prospective client, you're straight away talking about them, their project, what do they want to achieve, their goals, and there's been no opportunity for you to really share about yourself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and a lot of our builders are pretty humble. They're not there just to, gloat about themselves. And what happens is, then there's no, only those interactions is what you're trying to build trust on. They don't know about you. They don't know about all sorts of things behind you that make you up. And so often what happens is when you get to delivering that proposal, there's not enough value there that's being communicated and trust built for them to justify that. And so that's often where, even on negotiated tenders, it doesn't go ahead. Yeah. They can't make sense of the value you're providing.
That's it. So, I mean, obviously the solution to overcome this problem is around case studies. Stories of past clients that you've helped in the past. Now, just before we go into the 3 main topics, let's quickly, for all the listeners, let's paint a picture of, they might be thinking in their mind, oh, it's like a testimonial video.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic one. Yeah.
So let's quickly go into what's the difference between case studies and testimonials? Yeah. Because everyone, no doubt, most builders have, they've seen testimonials around. Yep. And which one should you do as a builder? So, I mean, how do we even start talking about what's the difference between case study and testimonial?
Well, one that you could go into a lot of detail and lay them both out next to each other and whatnot. But one thing that I often use to explain the difference to a builder or anyone I'm speaking to is I'll say a testimonial is mostly similar to a review. So if I go and read a Google review, There's someone saying, Builder B was fantastic. We loved working with him. Would highly recommend it, and we would love to do it again. That's good. I would definitely always encourage, our listeners out there to be encouraging your clients to leave reviews. But your prospective client is looking for trust. So if you can imagine, if they look at that review by Jay Smith, man, who's Jay Smith?
Yeah.
They said it doesn't resonate.
Yeah, and as soon as you start watching a testimonial, they'll all sound the same. Mm-hmm. They'll normally introduce themselves. Hey, yeah, I'm Bob, and I'm Jane, and XYZ builder was great, and they built quality, and they were on time, and they cleaned up after themselves. So straight away in that testimonial video, you will see it's the same as every other builder. It's very surface level because there's no thought put into it and everything. Yeah,
that's a big one. It's if you were to watch, several testimonial videos often across several different, let's say, builders. We're in the building space. If you literally just changed out the name of the company, it would sound very, very similar.
It would sound the same. Yeah. It's the best way I could describe it is it's very static, one-dimensional, not much emotion. It's there just to tick a box.
Yeah.
So when it comes to case studies, I mean, we've been doing case study stories, how long for? Like almost 2 years into the business. So it's probably been 10 years. It'll be interesting to go see how many case studies we've actually created. But a case study is, it's very deep. Yeah. It's using the potential client, the client as a character, and basically creating a mini movie, a story on that character.
Big time.
And so and the benefit of that compared to his testimonial is that it's like a few levels down.
Quite a few levels down.
It's highly emotional. It grabs the attention of future prospective clients, especially if they resonate with that character.
With that, when you maybe to go into more detail there are some key elements to a story. If anyone wants to go and read any classic book, I was reading Alice in Wonderland the other day to my little girl, and it was you could see the classic highlights there of a really good story. Why do those stories keep getting retold? Why are they getting made into movies? If you go and watch all the big movies out there, they follow a traditional storyline.
And what's the main thing? Like, what's in a case study that's not in a testimonial? That's like in that Alice in Wonderland and stories.
There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
One is there's a lot more depth.
Yeah.
You get to know the person, the character, and their struggles, as well as their goals.
Yeah.
And then you can see there's a big gap between where they are right now, their goal, and they've got this journey ahead of them. Yeah. And they just don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
And so,
whereas a testimonial, if you go look at it, and if you transcribe a testimonial and you go read it, you will notice that most of it is just positive. It's just positive little quotes the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, if you go watch a movie and you walk out, you're like halfway through, you're like, I can't watch this movie. It's probably because it's that type of one-dimensional, kind of thing. Whereas a good movie's got really good conflict, struggle.
That's what grabs you.
Yeah. And not just conflict, but like the character has a desire. They want to get somewhere, but there's something holding them back. And that's what's good about case studies. It's got that same formula, that hero's journey.
The other thing, reading a book at the moment, Influence, the Power, the Psychology of Persuasion. So Influence.
Robert Cialdini.
Yeah. Fascinating book. And a big thing there that he highlighted, and reading it this week just made me go, wow, that's why case studies are so powerful.
Oh, yeah. And when was that book written? Like, I'd lie to you if I told
maybe
you.
The 60s, 70s, 80s. Yeah. But humans are humans. And one thing that he highlights there, and the reason why you see case studies be so powerful, is because they're depth, because they're conflict, because we as humans resonate with that conflict.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's a testimonial, they're talking about the end result. They're there, they've achieved it. Now me as a prospective client, that's what I want, but it just seems so far because where I am right now, I can't even conceive how to get there.
Yeah.
You haven't told me how you got there.
Yeah, that's
I don't even know if you're like me. So I don't know if that solution will work for me.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All those aspects are missed.
Yeah.
And
So I mean, when a prospective, like a person that wants, their dream home, right? At that point in time, they don't have that. The goal is they want that dream home.
Yeah.
They watch a case study, and like what I'm hearing from you is, I just want to sum up what you're trying to say is, testimonial, it just shows the end result, the beautiful home and why the builder was so good.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas the case study will bring that back and think about that prospective client, where they are at in their that current moment. So that is, they don't have their dream home, they want it, but there's some problems stopping them.
So maybe let's give the guys an example who are going to be watching this of that. So classic would be builder, they do renovations, and the client out there is, they love their home in terms of the location, but they're a growing family. So there's that desire, we want to stay here. We know this is where we want to be forever as our kids grow up, but our house isn't big enough. We need more space.
Or modern, or...
We need more, and to do that, where do we go? Who do we talk to? We're going to need a builder. Who do we trust? How do I even start the conversation? Where do I even start looking? As it's maybe a case study scenario. That'd be a classic one.
Yeah, that's it. So I think that's pretty good. I mean, just real quick, what are the pros and cons of, like, I'd like to quickly just dissect this. The pros and cons of testimonial. So I think the pros of a testimonial, like the surface level type of video, is that it's better than nothing. Okay. It builds that social proof. It's there. I would suggest, any builder that they don't have anything, they're just starting out, they don't have money or time or anything to invest in, case studies, is definitely have some sort of testimonials. I think that's good.
Yeah. I think just to add to that, for testimonials to be more effective, you need a lot more.
Yeah.
Because that'll deal with the false, or as we're humans, we're skeptical. If I see one shallow testimonial, that could be anyone. That could be their friend that just posed for it. Yeah. So to prove it more to me, I want to see I want to see a lot. Tens of 50. I want to see a lot of testimonials, because that would be harder to orchestrate. Yeah. Whereas
no, that's good. Yeah. No, I think that's good. Another pro of a testimonial is that it's cost effective. It doesn't take too much time, money to create.
Your prospect or your clients can do it on their phone.
Yeah, they could. Literally, you could
do it for free.
A lot of companies do that. Another pro, let's talk about some of the cons. Con is you might be wasting a really good opportunity to do a really good case study. And we'll talk about the pros and cons, obviously, of case studies in 1 second, but that could be a good chance of doing a good case study. Yeah. So that's a con there. Another con is it's just not as good as case studies, because again, it's surface level, all that kind of stuff. So that's about it. It's definitely got some pros. I think it's definitely good.
I think the big pros is better than nothing, and you can do it very cost effectively. Yeah, and it can take minimal time from you. Yeah, just ask the client, because you can do it on a phone. Yeah.
Pros and cons of case studies. If I said it's 10 times more effective than a testimonial or something like that, I'm probably underestimating it. I think it's probably 100,000 times better, because you are now tapping into people's emotions. You're building trust that prospects can't even explain. Yeah. That they won't. If you ask them, like, why did you choose this builder? You're like, man, I don't even know. But it's just this feeling. It's like in my heart, And especially when it comes to building, it's building someone's. It's around emotion. So that's a huge pro there. What else? What other pros?
I think it
all
feeds into that.
Yeah. It all, that's the first principle, basically. Yeah. It all comes back.
You want to be, if you can build that, that's the goal. If it builds the trust, and it does exactly that. Yeah. But if you want to break it up, well, it goes in a lot more depth. Yeah. It's going to be far more engaging. Yeah. It'll educate.
And it shows you as more professional as well.
Yes.
It's a little bit more polished. Yeah. There's definitely a place for content that's more raw. Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially on Instagram stories and
like this
reels and stuff like that. Yeah. There's definitely a place for that. But if you're a builder and You're asking someone $300,000, $1 million, $10 million. It doesn't matter. That's a lot of money in their minds. You know, you're if you look at it, you're like, oh, it's not a lot of money. Just that's because you're used to that kind of money. That's what you see. You see those figures. That's what we talk about. You've got your builder's license, all that. But if you put yourself in a prospective client's shoes, that's a lot of money. They might be used to like, oh, I bought a $30,000 car before and that was big. Now $300,000, $1 million. Oh my word. So you've got to like step up to that. It's got to be the story they consume. They're like, oh man, I can see that's like professional.
And another big thing is the opportunity to educate. It's a great opportunity to use that because of its depth. Going through the challenges and conflict that prospective client or that client of yours had in the beginning. So it then educates your audience that these are the types of problems that get solved when you work with us. So it allows them to self-identify, and then going through the journey, and I had this concern, and the team helped me overcome it like this.
Well, that's just what I was going to add. I was going to say it's a chance for you to overcome false beliefs people have. And because the builders that get this, and I've seen good builders do this, they really take the time to identify false beliefs that people have around the process of building or even coming to them. The ones that understand that and then bring that to light, you know, especially through a case study, there's a massive difference there. Testimonials, you're not going to bring up false beliefs. Sometimes they do. They go, oh yeah, I thought it's going to be, you know, expensive, or I thought most builders are dodgy, but then, you know, ABC Building Company showed me that they're not. But that's as much as they go into it.
There's such a
surface
level. It was surface level, and it was this, now it's this. So, whoa, like, how did that happen? You know,
because again, like a prospective client watching the case study, you have time to get them to go like, oh yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think, you know, you've got to be scared that the builder might run massively over time or over budget. And then you've got to help them slowly change their mind around that, or show them how you're not going to do that. A con, let's think about the cons of case studies. Time and money investment is completely different. Now, some people might see that as a con from a surface level, but the builders that really get this, they'll see it as an investment. So it's an upfront investment. The pro about that case study is it will keep returning forever. And
that is probably going back to a pro there. A case study, I suppose you could say it to a testimonial, but obviously you're going to get more. We've seen the far greater return on a case study. Is it continually works once you've captured it. And that kind of helps for a lot of our builders go, oh mate, it totally makes sense, the investment. Because you're paying it up front, but then you're investing it and you have this asset for life. And because the message is
universal,
because the message is you transform that person's life, that is relevant today. It's relevant 5 years from now. It's
relevant for any project. Doesn't matter if you started with little small renovations.
How many builders do we have that were doing, let's say, small scale stuff, and they wanted to be doing bigger, much large scale stuff? And the classic false belief that we have to educate through is, I don't have the right project yet to do a case study on.
And we're going to talk about that one as well.
We won't jump.
That's a topic by itself.
It is.
So I think that's a really good introduction to the difference between case studies and testimonials. That was the longest introduction ever. So let's go into like the main topic. So if we're going to the first topic, and that is, I want to do a case study, but I don't have ideal projects. So I mean, this is something that a lot of builders tell you all the time. And we have so many stories of builders that literally they didn't have good projects. They didn't have like, you know, anything really to show for.
Imagine, I mean, one comes to mind. He was coming to us going, I want to be doing $1 million plus. You know, that's a bracket a lot of guys want to enter. You know, be doing $1 million plus major renovations. And what was he doing when he got to us? When he came and spoke to us?
A very, very small project. I mean, I'd be surprised if it was $100,000. And yeah, we focused on telling the story of that family. What was their main desire as a family.
Yeah.
We, showed the lifestyle, we showed the conflict that they were having, and how they were able to overcome that conflict using that particular builder. And that, it's a highly emotional case study, and, he still uses that.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the main point here.
Yeah. I'll come back to that in a sec, because that big question that comes up a lot is, I want to do a case study, but I don't have the right project.
Yeah.
And so it holds a lot of guys off. I'll talk to builders who've been watching our stuff for a long time, and then they'll call me and go, I've been watching you for a long time. I thought I might just reach out and figure out when would be the best time. I've got this project, it's about to finish, or I'm about to start it. When should we start a conversation about doing a case study on it?
Yeah.
And so the fixation is on the project, the product.
The what, yeah.
And thinking that this is it. I only have this one opportunity, and there's a lot of pressure they put on themselves. Like, I need to maximize this, and I only get one chance,
right.
And they've waited a long time until that point.
Yeah.
Whereas when you shift the focus, and this is what a case study does, it shifts the focus from the product in the building space, the home or the renovation, whatever you did, to the journey and the transformation and the impact you had on that person and that family.
And that's a key word that I'm hearing. It's like, you got to think about the who. Who are you building for? Who? It's not what you're building.
Yeah.
If you're a developer and you sell off your the homes, it's like a spec home or something like that. That's completely different.
Yeah.
You build a product, and then someone will like that product,
Yeah.
and then you sell it. But if you're building for someone, that's the key word. You're building for someone. Building product comes second.
Yeah.
So if it's a beautiful home, I mean, if you're a builder, like watching this, listening to this, go to our Instagram, website, go watch some of these case studies. You'll see there's beautiful imagery of the project and all that kind of stuff. And then you'll also notice a few where the project is not really highlighted too much.
Yeah.
It's the person. Every single case study that we do is around the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of our case studies, you wouldn't even know exactly what the project was.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know the investment for the client's investment on that project. You wouldn't know what they spent. You didn't know how long it took, anything like that, because that's not the focus.
Yeah.
And so for a lot of our builders, when you look at it like that, there is so much opportunity to leverage past projects, past client journeys with you, or existing ones, despite not having whatever that goal is, that $1 million, $5 million project. And when you understand that, it allows you to leverage that journey.
Yeah.
Because then it gives you the opportunity to put that story in front of that next prospective client that does have that bigger project for you that you're wanting to do. And their decision is not based on, oh, have you done something like this before?
Yeah.
Because that's a big thing for a lot of guys. Is like, oh, I can't crack into that market because we haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Well, then you're always going to have that problem. It's that chicken or the egg.
Yeah.
Or as your project values are growing so slowly, it takes a long time. Whereas if you leverage the relationship you had with the client, and we've seen this many times before with our builders, and they'll tell us this, that they go from doing these sorts of projects to those kind of projects quite quickly, because those people are people. They're looking for someone to trust. And if they know that they can trust you, they trust you that you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I just want to challenge everyone to start thinking in terms of first principles. We'll create another podcast on what that means. It's a mental model.
Yeah.
All the greats in the world, Elon Musk actually describes it really well, first principles. So it's like dissecting things and getting to the root cause, or the root kind of thing.
Yeah.
A lot of builders, they'll come to us I want to do this project, and I want you to do heaps of drone shots and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, it's classic.
And then we've got to challenge them to go deep and think, what's the first principle? And it always comes back down to the who. It's the who you're building for, the relationship. Yeah, exactly what you're saying there. I think another thing I just want to throw in here is if you, the power of case studies. And even if you don't have that ideal project, you want to think of it like this as well. This is another way you could think about it. You could think of it in terms of leverage. Because we, including you, the builder, are in charge of what story is being told, in what sequence. and we're putting that into a video that cannot change.
Yeah.
And that means that message is, going to be the same every time. It's a standard message. If you rely on people that refer you to create their message to the person they're referring each time, you're handing over so much power. It's not even funny. If you have a case study story, it's standardized. That message is consistent with everyone.
Yeah.
So people that refer you, they can refer this video instead of referring you, the builder. Then that video will do its job. And the other thing about leverage is, a lot of, I think word of mouth is great, but it's so limited. It's limited based on the amount of people that you know.
Yeah.
Whereas the video, can go out to hundreds and thousands of people.
Yeah.
And that
The
message
butterfly
is gonna be the
effect
same.
is so much greater. Yeah.
So the leverage,
Well, that ripple effect.
that's probably a pro of both a testimonial and a case study, if we go back to the pros and cons as before. But that's something you want to think about is leverage. So even if you don't have the ideal project, it's about leveraging the message and who you did that for.
Yeah.
So, before we go on to the next one, is there anything else that we want to add in terms of, I want to do a case study, but I don't have the ideal project? Like if a builder tells you that, it's like, I want to do a case study, but I don't have the ideal project. I'll wait for next year. What do you tell them?
I firstly understand what are they currently doing. So what have been maybe the last few projects you've done, and understand a few questions about the journeys with those clients. And have you recently finished projects?
Yep.
One, have you finished something? And what's the relationship like with that client? Those are really the only two things.
Yeah.
Once you've got those, because the next thing is then, asking the prospect, asking your client to be involved in something like this.
Yeah, and we've actually done a podcast on that. So we'll actually just reference it maybe underneath this video or after this video.
A lot of builders though, it's funny, man. A lot of builders will be like, oh, I don't know if I can ask them, or I don't know. It's like, man. And then when I go back and I say, did you do your very best by them?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. They loved it. We've had a barbecue since, or a couple of barbecues since.
Yeah.
It's like, great.
Or even the builders though, that they think they have this perception that it wasn't the best relationship or something.
Yeah.
I think you have to understand that you're providing value. So if you go very logical here, you provide the value, your service and product, and the client gives value in terms of money.
Yeah.
And that's the value exchange.
Yeah.
So a lot of clients think it kind of ends there. That's all they need to give. They don't even need to thank you, the builder, or praise you. That because they've given their thing, and that now
it's just a transaction.
Done. However, the times when we then go talk to that client of the builder, it's a complete different story.
It's insane. Yeah.
Oh my word! Like the builder, when they watch the case study at the end of the day, they're like, "Oh my goodness, I didn't even know these people were actually happy with us."
Yeah, I think that's
how many times have that come up?
Always, and I think going back to maybe a con of a testimonial is often what comes out of that. And this is the other thing, because it's often the builder's business, someone in the builder's team go out there and capture the testimonial maybe, or if they do hire someone, they'll send a team member out there with them. Yeah. Or
they're professional storytellers.
Yeah. But it's this, like, when the interview or the questions are being asked, someone from the business there is there. And what that does is it just means that you're only going to get 30%. And that 30, if that, and that let's say 30% is the 30% that you've subconsciously been telling them, hey, this is what we pride ourselves in, which is awesome. Yeah. This is what we do. This is great. And so if it's like when they post a review, they know you're going to see it. So they want you to be happy because they like you. The reason they've left that review or doing a testimonial is because they like you. They want to do right by you. So they tell you what you want to hear subconsciously. When you get a third party like us in to go in, and then it's, just the way we go about it is so different, and it allows us to go so much deeper.
Yeah, and we could probably create another podcast. We'll do a podcast on that pretty soon. I think that's a really good topic. I'll note that down. Okay. So like in terms of, You know, how do we get the good stuff out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I think that that's probably good for that point. Another question is like return on investment on case studies.
Yeah.
You know, I think
That's a big one.
so. That's the next topic. I think I introduced that a little bit in terms of leverage before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you invest time and money into a case study,
Yeah.
it's building an asset. You've got to think of it like that. And that asset can be leveraged through advertising. Could be leveraged through your sales process. It could be leveraged through your your whole sales structure.
Yeah.
So you've got to have a CRM. You've got to have some sort of system that nurtures potential clients.
Yeah.
You've got to have a system that actually attracts them, gets them into your system, nurtures them over time.
Well, I suppose it touched on the two sides to obscurity in terms of how the ROI.
Yeah.
So when you go and create a case study, does it have the impact? If you were to show one person, is it going to have that big impact?
Yeah.
And really capture them if it's the right person? Again, be clear on, I mean, I'm sure we've done plenty of videos on this already.
Yeah.
What's the goal? Where are you trying to get to? And who do you want to be working with?
Yeah.
That start there before you touch a camera or anything. Other than marketing sales, how else does someone measure ROI? Or how else can you measure?
Okay, so we actually just screened a brand new case study story like 2 days ago. Were you there?
No, I still need to watch that.
Okay.
It's in my
this
save
thing
list.
is insane. Like, so this case study, you can't call it a case study. We call it like a project documentary almost, like a client. It's really epic. It was like a over like two year kind of project for us, which is good. It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I don't want to go off topic here too much.
Yeah.
Where, you know, a case study could be like, you're done with the build.
Yeah.
Cool. Biz video, client, I'm going to get Biz Video, get in contact with you. All right.
Yeah, that's a classic.
And then we get in contact with the client and we handle it. Okay. That's as easy as that in terms of that.
One call.
There's some story development involved with the client and everything else like that as well. But this particular one, we did so many shoots and stuff. It was a bit of a passion thing as well for us. Anyway, we screened the story 2 days ago. It's going to come out soon. We're going to show it to everyone. This client, our client, said to us, he's starting 2 projects at this very moment now.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if both have signed contract already or only one. I can't remember exactly. But he's about to go on this journey with them. Yes, they have seen all these other case studies. We've done so many for this client. We've been working with this client for like 6 years or something now.
Okay.
Anyway, he goes, can you shoot me this link ASAP? Because I'm going to give this case study to these 2 projects that I'm about to start with now. So you might be thinking like, well, he's got the jobs already.
Yeah.
Why should he invest even if he... Yeah, obviously he's going to use it for
that's a good
marketing.
one.
He's going to be using it for marketing and
I was
sales.
wondering where
anyway.
you're going with this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's going to be using it for marketing and sales anyway.
Yeah.
But even if he didn't,
Yeah.
here's value again of case study.
That's huge.
He's about to go on this journey with his clients. It's big projects. It's going to take some time again.
Yeah.
He wants the relationship to be good. He needs to instill trust along the way. So now he uses this
And
case study.
you can't ever, that's a bit, sorry to jump in there. Don't ever stop
Yeah.
instilling trust.
Yeah. So he's got to instill trust with these clients they already trust him,
Yeah.
that already love him. But, you know, and why do you want to do that? It's because if you show up and your team shows up to site, you want to be seen as the expert.
Yeah.
You want to be seen as the person that's going to help the client. And the client's not dictating what you should do. They are not experts at building. That's why they got you.
You're
And
the authority.
That's the ROI of case studies right there. Forget about financial ROI. Yes, there's going to be a lot of financial ROI, even for this client I just mentioned then, because the client's going to trust them. There's not going to be too many changes along the way, which might cost the builder, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's financial ROI, but even more so, there's happiness ROI.
Yeah.
This builder can save time.
How much smoother then is this build going to go for him in terms of the relationship?
Yeah.
When something comes up, because they've seen that case study in other documentaries, they can watch that and go, look, I totally trust you have our best interest at heart. So when he says, look, this is what's come up, this is how we're going to handle it.
Yeah.
I trust you.
Yeah. And I mean, in this particular case study, we came up with problems that happened during the build, right? And
Problems always come up in builds.
And how this builder was able to overcome it. But imagine you're a builder and you're about to start projects. You've already signed it and you've got some testimonial videos in your bank. Are you going to send those testimonial videos? Probably not. Because the client's going to be like, why is he sending me this testimonial video
I just signed.
about, ABC building company was good and they were on time. It's like, why would,
that's
but
true.
a case study story, it can be used for marketing, sales, and operations. Because it's this hidden little Trojan horse in a way.
Yeah. Now you say operations, I would definitely. The other big thing that we've heard a lot from our builders is when it comes to case studies is because of the depth of them, using them when you are onboarding a new team member can really, really quickly fast track that new team member's connection to the brand, connection to the belief in the business, the company, and trust his team.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Because if he's coming to work with you, probably because he doesn't like where he's come from. Maybe, I'm not sure what that environment looked like, but trust is a big thing within your team as well.
Yeah.
And so when a new member can watch that, and some of our builders make that that's the rule. When you come on board, go watch all our videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the ROI on that?
How do you
Few
measure
things
that?
straight away. So, if someone new comes onto the team, you got to pay a lot of money and time to get that person up to date, up to speed. If they leave after 4 months or whatever because they had the wrong idea about your company and culture, that's time. That's money wasted. Another one is if they feel good, they feel like, man, I'm part of a really good vision here. I'm part of someone that really changes people's lives. That person's going to do even better work. ROI.
Yeah.
So you got to look. There's ROI everywhere.
A big one I'd add to that, and that's something I think everyone will agree with. We've all been new to a team at some stage, whatever that is, and as human beings, we tell stories. So how often when you're in an environment and you're to really tell a story, to really convey a message or to transfer information, you tell a story.
Yeah.
But if you're new to the team, you don't have that library of stories to pull from.
Yeah.
And so this is a great way for when, let me just jump to the point. It means you can trust sooner that new team member to take care of X, to engage the client, because he already has these stories of, oh, we've done this, and this with the builder. Oh, actually, it reminded me, he can talk like it's his business. He can talk like that client he was part of that journey. How do you measure that?
Yeah. That's it.
In terms of ROI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. So I think that's good for that topic. In terms of the next topic, how many case studies do I need? This is a good one.
Yeah.
Builders ask you this all the time. How many case studies do I need? Where do I stop? What do you say? Should we list out some of the, key points here? I think that the major one here is I wrote down different target markets.
Yeah.
But it's more than that. It's different personalities. It's different relationships, different type of relationships. But we can probably sum that up all in one there. It's on who.
Who do you want to be?
Who are you putting this case study in front of?
Yeah.
So a great example of this is you want to put a case study in front of someone where they will resonate the most with that character.
Yeah.
They have to see themselves as the character.
Yeah.
And a good illustration of this is if you're listening to this, or JP, what's your favorite movie of all time?
My favorite movie would probably be, I'm a huge fan of the Bourne movies.
So why?
I want to say it's relatable. No, I'm not at all relatable.
So,
to character,
so this is
but
this is what it is.
conflict.
This is what it is. You see yourself as Jason Bourne. You do, man. And you actually look like him too, like a younger version of Matt Damon. But that's the truth. So there's things there that you relate to with that main character, and that's the same with your clients. So like builders' clients.
Yeah.
You've got to create a library of case study stories that will resonate with as much as your target market as possible, so that they relate to it. Yeah. They have to see themselves as the main character. Yeah.
I think to drive that point home, again, the book I'm reading at the moment, Influence, one whole chapter there is on social proof.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't realize how powerful social proof is, and just, let's say, the algorithm to it and why it is. We're probably aware of the obvious ones. We see an advertisement and it's people buying X product.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. But that's very easy to see that. It's just in your face. Every day, our decisions, our actions are being driven a lot by social proof.
Yeah.
And the two biggest key aspects there is uncertainty and, let's say, relatability.
Okay.
Uncertainty is a given.
Yeah.
They don't know who they can trust.
Yeah.
They don't know you yet. If I'm looking to build, mass media throws plenty of uncertainty in the market.
Yeah.
So you've got that one ticked. Other one is relatability.
Yeah.
They're not a builder, so you can't just be putting yourself out there. You've got to show someone relatable to them.
Yeah.
And that is why you want to be, on a surface level, you'll have multiple case studies. Growing family, empty nesters, downsizing, major renovation, new home, that. But on a deeper level, then you're going to start to really understand or have that person relate.
Yeah. So I think if we create a list quickly of the different type of case studies that you need or that you need to think about, I think it's in terms of, the different target markets.
Yeah.
Okay. So a great example of this is we've got a builder, he builds a lot for business, business owners. So like entrepreneurs. Yeah. But then he's got some other like little niches as well, like professionals. Yeah. So, someone, if you create a video on, like let's say a stay-at-home mum, and you put that case study in front of, like, let's say like an entrepreneur, they're not going to resonate with that. Yeah. So it's about hitting both of those case studies on both. Yeah. One thing you just mentioned before is the different type of builds that you do. Yeah. And that is in regards to the character's desire. Yeah. So now we're thinking about the different desires. So one could be around family, entertaining. Another one could be around, I don't know, maybe it's got to be, the client's desire is like, there's got to be a good investment or something like that. Yeah. Another one that I've got here is the different type of conflicts that different people have. So it's almost like a combination lock here. There's like a lot of different variables you've got to think about. Yeah.
The other thing I would say to consider is seeing it as an opportunity, again, to educate. Yeah. So if you were looking at the clients that you have coming to you, where are the gaps in their knowledge? Where are the common questions that they have? What's the common false beliefs that they have? Yeah. What are their belief systems about building in general, about me, about the industry, about new home or reno, whatever that may be. You see, understanding that, and then taking that into, okay, what do we need to extract from this? Yeah. And a case study is not going to be 2 hours long. Yeah. So you want to be looking at doing multiple case studies. Again, zooming out, what's the goal? And the who, not the how. Yeah. And then you can zoom in and go, all right, from this case study, we want to be extracting this. And then on the next case study, we can extract other things or deeper things or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, to probably wrap this up, we've got a few clients, like when new clients come on board, some of them don't even start with a case study. Majority do. They start with at least one case study. Then we've got clients that literally do a case study story on every single project they do. Yeah. So that's a good indication there for you. If you're a builder and you're like, man, how many case studies should I do? The goal should be one for every project. If you want to ramp up your business, if you want to build ultimate trust, you want to destroy the competition in a good way. Yeah. If you want to be seen as the go-to builder in your type of building, your niche, your location, all that stuff, you will win if you have as many case studies as possible. Yeah. So that's
just more proof.
Yeah, and I mean that suits us really well because then we can help that client. Like that's awesome for us. Yeah. But take that apart, like whether you go with Biz Video or someone else or whatever, it doesn't matter. I recommend a case study on every single project that you do. Yeah. That's what I would suggest. Case studies though is one video. We do other videos for clients as well, and there's reasons why they've got to have an overview and other type of stories and stuff. We won't go into that today, but it's got to fit in with a good strategy, a whole marketing strategy.
That's a big thing because there's no point going and spending all this effort and time, energy and resources into creating a case study and then it's not used.
Yeah. And you can use it in so many different ways. Like we said before, in marketing, You could use it in paid advertising. You could use it in organic marketing.
Yeah.
When it comes to sales, you could use it in your sales process.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can use it in establishing better relationships with other potential referrers, partners, any stakeholders are involved. So all of your contractors, you know, your, that's that. We didn't even touch on that. Oh my word.
Next time.
Yeah. All your contractors and suppliers,
team.
how to use it to really, really strengthen those relationships.
Yeah. Suppliers, team. From an operational side, again, you can use it with your team.
Yeah.
You can use it with current clients to build that trust even more. In your community, so people look up to you as like, this is a business that adds value to the community. So there's a million different ways where case studies play part of there. Again, you've got to have a really solid strategy when it comes to that, a solid system. And the best way to do that is like, there'll be a link in this description to just download the builder guide that we've created. It's just a free guide. It's a
good resource.
PDF. I don't know how many pages. It's not that long. It's like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pages maybe. If you're a builder, I would recommend, you know, downloading that guide. It'll give you an overview of the system and the strategy that you need in terms of your marketing and your sales. So that's it. I think, you know, just to close this one off, case studies are so important. I've been, you know, part of other people's sales like cycles and so on, and the ones that have won me over is because there was a solid case study. One great example is Xero, our accounting software. They had multiple case studies on the different industries that Xero helps. So they've got professional, they've got design and creative. Those are the ones I watched. They've got you know, all the different type of industries. And I watched the ones that was creative, and they got me. And we've been a client ever since basically when Xero started. So it's powerful.
It is.
Anything you want to add to finish this one off?
It's, I don't know, like, even though we've just discussed this for I don't know how long, I still feel like we've only scratched the surface.
Oh yeah. We'll do more podcasts. I think, if people are watching this on YouTube, just comment, like, what are some questions? What are questions you have? Because we take for granted, and so do builders. We all take for granted what we know. We think that's everyone knows that.
Well, they can connect the dots. If I say this and then it's this, I understand how X leads to Y.
So if you're a builder, comment below a question, ask your questions.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do that on podcasts like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But anyway, go on the YouTube one, subscribe there and post a comment. Thanks for the podcast, mate.
No, thank you. That's good.
Thank you for tuning into our podcast. If you haven't already, visit bizvideo.com.au/podcast, where you can subscribe for updates to every new podcast episode.